So the burial of our revolutionary icon and freedom fighter went well, but at this moment we'll be joined by a few dignitaries who will share on various pertinent issues that concerns our lives here in Zimbabwe. So to begin with, we'll be joined by Comrade Douglas Mahiya, who is the Secretary for War Veterans Affairs in the ZANU-PF Politburo. Comrade Mahiya, we welcome you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Comrade, our issue is on the legacies of the revolutionary struggle. So may you kindly share with the nation how best we can emulate from the virtues left by the late revolutionary icon, Comrade Mthuli.
Thank you very much. I think the nation needs to understand that the nation was born out of certain principles, which are revolutionary principles. That Comrade Gagisa was played a very pivotal role, and surely war veterans are departing this earth each and every time. I've always been an advocate for not talking about somebody else when at his grave side, but that the nation should at some point get to understand that you as a journalist went to school, and today you depend on what you learned. Gagisa, myself, and all other war veterans went to various schools, and the knowledge that they got is what brought about independence. It is what brought about the economic situation that we all depend upon. But why don't we go a little further to look after these war veterans before they die, so that at least they will benefit from the knowledge that they got and implemented and delivered at the doorstep of every Zimbabwean: independence, freedom, and of course, war veterans are grateful in that the President, Comrade E.D. Mnangagwa, has opened his arms once more and brought nearer to him as our party leader, and created the War Veterans League. I think that is going to assist us to make contribution to the formulation of such policies, so that at least the welfare of the war veterans is looked after, so that they don't die paupers. Even after his death, I think his children, his wife, must be looked after, because the current economic structure, or the GDPA, continues to look after any other person. So what he contributed to this nation lives forever. So it is important that we continue putting effort towards looking after the welfare of the war veterans, living and dead.
Thank you very much. But you know, his passing on comes at a time when there is a rising concern pertaining to some whom I would call mercenary historians, who are attempting to rewrite history pertaining to the revolutionary struggle, demeaning and trying to belittle the role played by our revolutionary icons. What are you doing as the revolutionary custodians who are still left, so that the heritage rather of the revolutionary struggle cannot be tainted?
The apparatus, the political apparatus that has been put in place by His Excellency to create a league will forever continue to defend these principles. And people like Gagisa and those that are there who were with Gagisa, who are still alive, are the V11. We are the evidence of what happened. The people who are fighting against the revolution are the same people who were fighting against us with guns. We will not tire. We know them much well. But their days are numbered. In that, as soon as we have structured the whole league throughout the whole country, and we have a National Assembly. What I'm talking about here is the nation will be directed by its army. Let me tell you, any mambo who does not have his army is useless, because he doesn't have power. The people of Zimbabwe created their own army, Zanla and the Zipra. That's their power. That's why they are called the Zanla and the Zipra Force. So the force still remains, and the president has put up this league as an apparatus to defend the principles of the revolution.
Comrade Mahiya, thank you very much for sharing with us insights pertaining to this revolutionary icon.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so that was Comrade Douglas Mahiya, a freedom fighter himself, who shared with us insights pertaining to the revolutionary struggle and the legacies thereof. So we are now crossing over to Comrade Margaret Kamba, who is with the Mayor of Harare, His Worship Herbert Gomba.
The purpose for me to be here is to make sure that we work together to send our hero to rest. And it is an obligation in terms of my office and in terms of me being a Zimbabwean to be here, to be doing this that I'm doing.
Not many from your stable would appreciate your coming here. What would be your message to these men and women?
I wouldn't say that because all of us agree that of course Herbert was a hero, Tongogara was a hero, and it doesn't require any political affiliation for you to concur or to give consent to that. So a hero is a hero. We must be able to look back and see whether it's necessary to look at political affiliation when we are attending to national events. I do agree that certainly some people have got concerns, but those concerns may be answered by them. On my part, I am here because I'm the mayor. It is an obligation. It is mandatory. It is one of those that I must be able to do as a Zimbabwean, residing here where the funeral is taking place.
Still with Margaret Kamba, we are now crossing over to the interview which she is having with the Minister of Finance and Economic Development, Professor Mthuli.
You know what? We've always had a domestic currency and also use the US dollar and multiple currencies in the multi-currency regime. And we need a domestic currency. Why? Because we cannot run monetary policy with a hard foreign currency. You can't do that. You can't print, you can't use interest rate policy to impact demand for the currency. So you always need a domestic currency to push economic growth forward and to drive development. So we're in transition. This is in transition. This $75 is nothing other than an inflation protector for civil servants. But also we did a 50% salary increase in Zimbabwe dollar terms. So both were done, and all of this is designed to cushion civil servants. And it's not final. This is only the beginning. This is an offer from the president. It's an offer from the employer to civil servants to say, we understand your plight. Here is something. When we conclude negotiations on the normal salary increase are ongoing. This one is just the beginning, and it's an offer from the employer and from the president.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much.
Are you happy with the bidding system?
Oh, I was very happy indeed that the auction system was very successful on its first day. We received obviously several bids ranging from 25 to all the way to 100. We only allocated from 35 to 100, 10.3 million US dollars. And we hope that there'll be more participation in future. And this should help, I think, stabilize the exchange rate, at least unify the exchange rate and improve price discovery for our currency and give better value for our currency. Also good for the tobacco farmers who will now be able to get a more favorable exchange rate for their US dollars in terms of the retention. It's also good for the gold producers as well. Will also get a favorable rate for their US dollars in terms of what they retain out of what Fidelity pays them.
Do you anticipate any saboteurs to already be planning to perhaps?
Oh yes, the saboteurs are always lurking around the corner, I'm afraid. The speculators, people going to money laundering and all manner of shenanigans and speculators. So they are always there. They are looking for loopholes. But look, we will enforce the law. We will go after them, not hesitate to deal with them. We now have an official process to determine the value for currency. Let's all embrace it. Let's all support it. And the detractors should stand back and toe the line.
Now finally we are crossing over to the ZANU-PF Director of Information, Comrade Stafado Ngwadi, who is having a discussion with the ZANU-PF Politburo member and Secretary for Finance, who is also the Acting Information Secretary, Comrade Patrick Chinamasa.
Good afternoon, Zimbabwe. We are coming to you live from the National Heroes Acre, where the occasion has been the burial of the late war commander, Comrade Stanley Nhlea. He has been buried at the national shrines, a befitting, of course, honor to the wartime commander, Comrade Nhlea. We are joined here by my senior colleague in the party, Comrade Patrick Chinamasa, the acting spokesperson of the party. Comrade Chinamasa, let's talk and probably give Zimbabweans one or two clues about Comrade Nhlea. Here is a gallant son who has been laid here. Now, the legacy of Comrade Nhlea.
the legacy of Comrade Leah is that he gave long, selfless service to the liberation of our country. As His Excellency said in his speech, he joined the liberation struggle in 1968 and remained faithful to the liberation, to the struggle until independence. After independence, he demonstrated that he was a humble cadre and remained loyal to the party until his untimely death. So we treasure the memory of Comrade Leah. We treasure his contribution to the liberation struggle. We treasure his unity, his dedication to the unity of the people of Zimbabwe. And these are the legacies that we are going to continuously cherish as we go forward.
Social media corporate spokesperson has been on the high drive to split and divide our people. You know, those characters that have been on overdrive on Twitter, social media, Facebook, you know, maligning the heroes, and some have even gone to the extent of, what is your take on those statements, especially in the light of gallant sacrifices like those done by Comrade Leah?
Yes, what the people of Zimbabwe should know is that the enemy, the devil, is always busier than them. While they are sleeping, the devil is not sleeping. There are a lot of forces that have been ranged against the people of Zimbabwe, against ZANU-PF, and the Zimbabweans have remained loyal, faithful, patriotic, and they should forever remain so. They should ignore completely the negative forces that are emanating on social media. Those forces are those which, since we embarked on the land reform program, have been predicting our fall every day, have been telling us we are dead. We have died so many times, but through these many deaths, both of our gallant soldiers, we are going to triumph, and the people of Zimbabwe must know that Zimbabwe will never be a colony again. No matter what the negative forces may say, the people of Zimbabwe will not allow this country to revert to the dark forces of yesterday.
Now, the enemy appear to have come up with a different strategy altogether. You are aware of, you know, that young doctor called Gomba who sneaked out of the country with the assistance of one particular embassy after engaging in some skit. And then the same, you know, challenge appeared to be recurring itself in light of, you know, the three activists from the other faction of the MDCs. Are we going to remain strong and outmaneuver these new strategies that the enemy is employing against us?
Yes, what you must know is, what is important is that the truth must prevail. But what you must know is that the truth is like a tortoise. Falsehoods are like the rabbit. They go faster, but at the end of the day, the tortoise will overtake. The truth will prevail. And the truth of the matter is that all those so-called abductions are masterminded, stage managed, and basically to try to throw bad reputation on ZANU-PF. So the people will get to know the truth, and the truth is also emerging. For instance, there have been falsehoods saying the president, by being photographed with people who may turn out to be criminals, was himself a criminal. Those are falsehoods which cannot stand the test of time, which cannot stand the test of truth. So what is important is that the truth will prevail.
And some of those, you know, culprits that have turned to become criminals, you know, where actually had an opportunity to have those photos taken with them, with leadership, during the donations of COVID-19. Can we certainly then say, you know, the president should not have accepted those donations when he didn't know the profile of those people, except he was received?
Given the circumstances of fighting this invisible enemy, the government is right to accept donations from anybody. And also those who give donations have a right to be appreciated. That does not mean that the president is associated with their businesses. It does not. And this is what we have refuted and will continue to refute. The fact that a president is photographed by donors does not mean that he's an owner of those businesses. No, that must be made clear, and I think that over time the truth will prevail.
Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson. Now, just to give Zimbabweans a word as we go towards the 2023, just tell us what we are going to do with them as ZANU-PF and President Emerson Mnangagwa.
Yes, you know, we have a track record. ZANU-PF has a track record. ZANU-PF has a history of liberation, a history of transformation. And the people of Zimbabwe know our, should we say, our DNA.
Yes.
That we are for the people, we work for the people, and as we go forward, the people will understand that it's only ZANU-PF which works for the people. We are not like other political parties who go out to ask for sanctions against their own people, who go out to hobnob with the enemy in other foreign capitals. ZANU-PF has stood the test of time, and come 2023, the people will support their party. They will know who is their biggest defender. They will know.
I had just forgotten this question, but it's a very critical one. Just recently, when the World Bank and IMF were about to release nearly 7 million or 700 million, I'm not quite sure about the figure, but to Zimbabwe in COVID relief, which other countries have gotten. You are aware that in a bit, one of the MDC faction leader wrote a statement, a letter to them, telling them to stop giving Zimbabwe that money.
Yes, we are aware, but clearly I was not surprised by BIT. BIT's political career, he has invested heavily in linking himself to the Republicans in the United States. He is one of those who is revered by the intelligence services of the United States. So he's not doing his own bidding. He's basically being used by those forces who wanted to undermine the sovereignty of this country in order to advance their interests. Not even BT's interests. BT's interests cannot be advanced by making people denied of help from the World Bank, from the IMF. They are not advanced. I can't understand how they can be advanced. The interests which are being advanced are the interests of those countries which impose sanctions against Zimbabwe and who have not forgiven us for embarking on the land reform program.
Thank you very much, Comrade Spokesperson. It was a good chat. Thank you.
Zimbabwe sijabulile ngokuba nani namhlanje silapha eHeroes Acre kodwa kwamanje sesizalishiya sizalibona ngesinye isikhathi muri eZimbabwe tinofara nekunge tanga tinemi panguva ino tiri kuno kuHeroes Acre yeZimbabwe patanga tichiradzika gamba redu Comrade Stanley Gagisa Nleya. Fellow revolutionaries, we thank you for being with us here at the Heroes Acre, but we are now ending our show, and until we meet again next time, it's goodbye for now.